going to go ahead and make the vocab foldable for the heat unit. What you're going to need is 2 pieces of notebook paper, so if you'll go ahead and get those out, that'd be awesome. Okay, you want to fold them hamburger, like so. And then instead of cutting or anything like that, this time we're just going to staple it. I'm going to staple mine in 3 spots, one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. And if you don't have a stapler, if you'll just fold it and bring it to class tomorrow, we can staple it here. On the front, go ahead and write heat transfer. I think it's called thermal energy. And heat vocab. Put your name on it, the top, class period. Alright, in this part you're going to need a ruler for. What we're going to do is separate this out. I'm going to use a light colored marker, like a gray or a yellow. Let's do yellow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to split each page in 2, roughly in 2, and just continue that on the second page. So now I have a top and a bottom section. Keep working through your little booklet, separating each page in 2. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And even separate the back page as well. We will need 1 section of that. We have 13 words. So we will be using the top section. Okay, so in the book you should have everything divided out in 2. Alright, now with a different color, I'm going to use the gray this time, we're going to separate each square this way, about 3/4 of the way over. That's going to be our picture. We're going to draw our picture there. It's okay if it's not perfect. Again, about 3/4 of the way over. 3/4 of the way over here. Keep going through your book. And don't forget about the last page here. We're going to need 1 here on the back. Doesn't have to be perfect. And we're not done yet. So this section is going to be for our picture for each one. Alright, now this is where it might get a little confusing. Each section is going to be devoted to a word. Okay? So why don't we make 1 section so you can kind of see how it's going to look. And I'm just going to divide the first box in half, not bringing it over into my picture. And so our first word is temperature. So I'm going to define the word right here, temperature. I already have one made here, so I'm going to cheat off myself. It's a measure of the average. I'm going to abbreviate average. Kinetic energy of the individual particles of matter. Okay? And then right here in the bottom section, I'm going to do a misconception. Oftentimes with heat and thermal energy and temperature, there's often a misconception between those terms of what they actually mean. So we're going to do a misconception for each word, as well as a picture. So a common misconception for temperature would be what? Like when I say temperature, you think, raise your hand. Okay, let's record some of those ideas, and I'm hoping these are what you came up with. Someone says, let's take your temperature. You're thinking fever. Take your temperature. I'm sure you've heard your mom say that a lot. Let's take your temperature. That's often a misconception of what this really is. Let's go ahead and draw our picture right here. And I'm just going to use the picture that's in the book beside temperature. And I'll show it to you right here. I've already drawn it, so I'll show you this. So I drew a picture here of the particles with low temperature have low kinetic energy, and you can kind of see the particles are just kind of hanging out there in that cup. And in the same in the book, this is some type of chocolate drink here. And right here, high temperature particles have high kinetic energy, and you can kind of see them pinging about there with the little tails behind each particle there. So for each word, this is what a completed first section would look like, and I did the Fahrenheit scale here, so I defined it, and then I did a common misconception, and then my picture. I did the same over here for Celsius, a definition, a misconception, and my picture. And then I still have Kelvin left to do here for this section. So we have 13 words. There'll be 4 in each 2 pages. And then we will have to do 1 here on the back. This would be 13. So let's go ahead and put the words out and get the rest of our bars drawn for each section. Now that you can kind of see what the finished product looks like. Now remember, you're only separating the first box, just roughly in half. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just like that. You don't want to separate the picture section. That's going to be 1 whole box. I'm going to do that again here. I'm going to pick up my marker. I'm going to do that on the second page. And pick up my marker, and then I'm going to do that on this next page. So that page is ready to go. Almost done. Just separate the first box and then go to the next page and the last one here. Alright, that page is ready to go. And then the last page on the back for our number 13 word. Just remember again to separate that first box. Awesome, and now all I have to do is put in my words